Dude, this place is crazy. But you guys gotta check out this sinkhole.
Meet Oubliette, the latest big cave discovery by my friends over at Cave Country Dive Shop.
Alright, we're gonna get some climbing gear, and of course our scuba gear. Come back, check it out.
Today, I'm with Cameron Mahaffey and Christy Bruneau, who made the discovery, along with cave explorer Matt Hansen. And you may recognize my good friends Sean and Rachel McCarthy, saving the day as our surface support, because making it into this sinkhole is no easy task. And until we have better infrastructure in place, we have to do it the hard way. Although Matt has a nice way of making it look easy. Once our cylinders are on and we're ready to go, we make the descent. This is my first time in anything like this. And while I'm trying to play it cool, inside I'm just screaming with excitement. This is epic! The cavern is so much bigger than I imagined it. I couldn't even see wall to wall at first. But at this exact moment, I discover a problem. Now, it's not a total deal breaker, but it's going to end my dive early. I'll share more on that in a moment, but for now, I want to tell you about the name of this cave, Oubliette. It's a French word that means a secret dungeon with access only through a trapdoor in its ceiling. And as you can tell, it's a very appropriate name. The entry is super difficult, and the cave itself is dark, very dark. In fact, you probably wouldn't have guessed that the divers in front are each using 15,000 lumen video lights, and the two lights that I'm holding are 20,000 lumens apiece, with another 6,000 in my hand. And I'm genuinely stunned that this cave is not lit up like a stadium right now. The fine, powdery layer of silt just seems to absorb so much of the light that we're putting out. But that's not the only surprise in store. After passing through a couple hundred feet of breakdown, we enter a huge silty bedding plane. It's so wide in here that I can't even see both walls to my left and right at the same time. It's just a moment longer and we reach the end of line. They've only dived this cave once before and this was the furthest point they reached. But today, that changes. Cameron ties in a new line and the team plans to continue through a small opening ahead. Once the team is through, I follow. I encountered what I thought was just silt, but what was later described to me as a massive bacterial layer. Similar to what can be found in the insulation room at Jenny Springs. The bacteria is both interesting and creepy in its own way. I couldn't help but wonder what else would be living down there. But the visibility was limited, and I could see the team turning around, so I head back. By the way, do you remember that little problem I mentioned earlier? Well, it was my dry suit leaking from a torn neck seal. Let's just say I had a less than graceful entry, and if you stick around till the end, I'll show you what that looked like. So by this point, I'm already getting wet and cold, so I decide to start my short swim back to the exit while checking out as much as I can along the way. I'll show you what the team discovered in just a moment. What appears to be just a rock ledge down there are actually called duck unders, and could very well lead to other tunnels. I have a feeling this cave is going to be massive. But to be clear, I'm not here to do exploration myself. I didn't discover this cave, and I'm just happy tagging along to film, even if it's only for a short while because of a dry suit leak. Okay, once back into the cavern area, I take a few minutes to look around the debris cone where I find a skull and tons of animal bones. I didn't realize on the way in how many bones there were, and it's not hard to imagine all the poor animals that may have fallen in over the years with no way of getting out. Meanwhile, the team is making huge progress. Cameron and Matt found a passage over in this area that ran roughly for another 100 feet or so. But the most interesting part was that they reached a depth of about 110 feet with room to go. That's very promising. So yeah, I have a feeling there's a lot left to see in this cave. And I haven't even shown you anything of the upstream side that Christy discovered on her previous dive. I haven't been there yet. But for now, it's time to go. At least for me. I'm cold and I knew that climbing out of this sinkhole was not going to be easy. But thankfully, we had Sean and Rachel to help. I clipped my cylinders to a homemade sled and then let Sean know when to activate the winch that was at the top. I was just using a hand descender to pull myself up, but in hindsight, I think all the divers should probably be using climbing harnesses. After I made it to the top, Cameron was next. Then we raised his and Matt's cylinders up the side using the winch. It was fun trying two different methods of raising and lowering cylinders, but I think using the ropes and a trapeze system is probably best. Oh, and I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Cameron and Christy for letting me tag along to film this beautiful cave. The whole day was just such an awesome experience for me, and I had a really fun time doing this with you. And before I forget, here's fall number 1 and fall number 2. I'm so good at this.